Hi there, Tim Tetrick, Partner Technology Strategist with Microsoft. And one of the first services that we see a lot of partners and customers getting started with in Azure is Azure Backup. So just want to spend a few minutes giving you an introduction to Azure Backup, talk a little bit about the value proposition, current capabilities it supports, and how you can price an Azure Backup solution leveraging the Azure pricing calculator. So before we jump into all that, just want to quickly talk about some of the backup challenges that we hear from customers today. So from our customers today, we hear that traditional backup solutions can be very costly to manage. So those disk and tape storage media solutions, very costly to manage. We also hear that those traditional backup solutions don't effectively scale to address the tremendous growth in data that we see. Data continues to grow and grow, and if I have to provision new storage media all the time to try to keep up with that, it can be very costly and doesn't allow me to be as agile as I'd like to be as an organization. For those distributed organizations that have branch offices, trying to maintain backup infrastructure for those can be especially expensive and difficult to maintain. Lots of overhead involved there. And then finally, restoring data. So when we look at trying to restore data from traditional offsite, tape storage methods, takes way too long and has way too much of an impact on the business when you're trying to wait for that data to get restored. So let's talk a little bit about Azure Backup. Two pieces to Azure Backup. There's the traditional on-premises data backup, and then there's also the ability to back up Azure virtual machines. So first, let's look at protecting your on-premises data. So with Azure Backup, you can back up your files and folders. You can back up clients and servers. You can also protect those application workloads that are running on premises. Things like SharePoint, Exchange, SQL Server, even your Hyper-V and VMware VMs that are running on premises can be backed up as part of Azure Backup. Azure Backup also gives you a great disk to cloud capability. So if you want to do your short-term backups to disk and then do a long-term backup to cloud, you also have that option. Azure Backup helping organizations really eliminate tape by leveraging the cloud to do those backups and really helping you to save money, and then again helping you to reduce those recovery times. Being able to leverage, Azure Backup, can really give you that infinitely scalable backup solution. So when you need new storage, again, not having to provision traditional storage methods, but I get with Azure Backup a instantly scalable backup solution and an infinitely scalable backup solution that can accommodate any size data. Again, those backup, the backup for branch offices, the cloud really helping to drive down those costs and helping reduce the overhead and the management and the hardware costs associated with that. And then finally, helping organizations meet their regulatory compliance requirements. We know a lot of customers have those regulatory compliance requirements, and with Azure Backup allowing you to get long-term data retention of 99 plus years. Secondly, as I mentioned, ability with Azure Backup to back up Azure virtual machines. So I can get those application consistent backups of running Windows and Linux virtual machines in Azure without impacting my users at all. Allows me to quickly recover from application errors, human errors, even malicious attacks, things like ransomware. Great capabilities in Azure Backup to help protect against all of those. And again, finally, whether it's data on premises, Azure VMs, helping me to meet that regulatory compliance requirements that a lot of customers have and giving me that long-term data retention. Okay, so let's look a little bit about how you price an Azure Backup solution. So when you look to price an Azure Backup solution, there's really two components to it. There's a cost per protected instance based on the size of the instance, and you see the the different levels right here. And you may be asking, okay, so what's a protected instance? What does that mean? Well, a protected instance is really just a machine, either physical or virtual, or it's an application workload. Again, as we talked about, SharePoint, SQL, those VMware or Hyper-V VMs. So again, either a physical or virtual machine or an application workload constitutes a protected instance. So cost per protected instance plus the cost of storage. The cost of storage can be either LRS, locally redundant storage, or GRS, geographically redundant storage. And just to give you a feel for what that is, LRS, locally redundant storage, we keep 3 copies of your data for redundancy purposes in the local data center. With GRS, geographically redundant storage, we keep 3 copies of your data in the local data center and 3 copies of your data in a geographically dispersed data center several hundred miles away. So, but that's really it. It's that cost per protected instance plus storage, and that's all you pay for. There's never any charges for restores. You can do as many restores as you want, no charges there. No charges for outbound bandwidth. So if you're familiar with VMs and some of the other services in Azure, you can get charged egress traffic, or that data that comes out of Azure. Not the case with Azure Backup, no charges for outbound bandwidth. And storage transactions, there's no charge for those either. A lot of times, again, with some services, with types of storage that you'll do, you get charged storage transactions. Not the case here. Again, as simple as that cost per protected instance plus storage. So let's look at how we would price this in the Azure pricing calculator. So here we are in the Azure pricing calculator. Let's go in and price a simple solution using Azure Backup. So you'll find Azure Backup under Storage. And then you'll see Backup right there. So I'll choose Backup. I'll say View. So first of all, I can give a custom name to this. If I have multiple things I want to back up, I can give custom names to keep track here. So maybe we say Backup for file server. So maybe this is the backup I'm going to do from my file server. I'm going to choose the region in where I want to keep the backup. So I can choose a region close to me. I can choose a region halfway across the country or even halfway across the world if I want. So in this case, I'll choose West US. I'll choose the number of instances and the size of that instance. So again, for my file server here, maybe we're looking at 400 gigabytes of data to back up on my file server. So we're looking at $10 per protected instance per month at that size. And then it's just the storage. Again, locally redundant storage or geographically redundant storage. So we'll choose locally redundant storage here. We see a cost of $19.60 per month to protect that file server at 400 gigs of data. So let's go up and add another instance here. Let's say that again under storage, we choose backup, go down and view. Maybe this time we want to do a client backup. So we're going to do a client backup. Let's add that to the estimate here. Again, we'll choose the region. I'll choose West US. In this case, maybe we just have one instance of 40 gigs of data. Again, locally redundant storage, we see $5.96 per month to back up that 40 gigs of data for that client backup. And then ultimately I can go down here and see a total cost of my total solution and then go out and export that estimate into an Excel spreadsheet. So we'll choose the export there. And then here's what that estimate looks like. Basically, we'll see here the 2 instances of backup, the custom names that I gave them. We see an instance of 400 gig of LRS and another of 40 gig of LRS, and then line item that out into the estimated cost over a monthly and annual total. Again, gives you just a nice capability for doing a simple quote or a simple estimate for one of your customers. So that's it for me. Again, just wanted to cover quickly the value proposition around Azure Backup, look at a few of the capabilities, and then ultimately how to price solutions using the Azure pricing calculator. So that's it for me for now. Thanks for watching and have a great day.